My name is Gary Thurby and I drive a 2015 Ford Fiesta ST. I purchased the vehicle brand new, so there was no mods currently when I got the vehicle. At 1,100 miles, I put on the access port and cut off the factory exhaust and put on a 3-inch MBRP exhaust. Currently on it, it still sits with the Cobb intake, Cobb rear motor mount. I also have the intercooler and the hard pipe kit. I also have the Cobb downpipe, which is catted, because unfortunately I live in Pennsylvania and I have to deal with emissions, so that's a lot of fun. 1552 Tarmacs and 17x8 plus 42 offset, wrapped in Pirelli P0, and then also with the Boomba blow-off valve spacer or whatever they call it. It's just a little noise factor. It's a little bit of fun for now. I'm sure in a year from now I'll probably take it off when I get annoyed by it, but it's just a little bit more fun, and it gets people looking at it, so I guess that's all what it is.
So this is a 2015 Ford Fiesta ST. It has amazingly a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder. It is turbocharged, which means it makes 200 horsepower out of the gate at the crank. So Gary here has done the Stage 3 package from Cobb, and he's making about 210 at the wheels, but that's not what's impressive about it. It makes 300 torque at the wheels. So being that this car is Stage 3, 300 wheel torque and front wheel drive, you would expect it to be a little tough to hold down, and it would feel more like you're wrangling something. But surprisingly, I feel like it's a little underpowered or underwhelming for Stage 3. You would think that Stage 3 would pull a lot harder, but it definitely has more of that fun driving experience, but not necessarily fast. I don't think it needs to be fast, especially if you're buying a Fiesta. Fiestas are nimble and light on their feet.
Typically with most cars that are turboed, Stage 3 means, you're getting into some serious crap. There's some good modifications done. On some cars, Stage 3 means that it's big turbo. But with this car, a Stage 3 is not, it wakes it up a lot, but it's not crazy.
The aggressiveness of how the Fiesta drives reminds me of my Evo, as it definitely feels more nimble, more alive. With the tires, it's very sticky in corners. You definitely can have a little bit more fun with it than you feel you can, just because the way the vehicle is set up from the factory, it definitely handles a lot better than you would expect it to, especially for being a front-wheel drive car.
This Fiesta bears certain similarities to the Focus that we drove a couple weeks ago. It also is burdened with a fairly small turbo, so it doesn't have overwhelming amounts of top-end power, but it does have, just like the Focus, tons of torque. So when you're right here around 4,000 RPM in the mid-range, oh, is it fun to drive. Just so tight coming out of a corner. You just dip into the throttle and you have immediate turbo spool and tons of response. And the thing that I'm already liking about the Fiesta more than the Focus is I think this has tremendously better steering feel. The steering feel feels much more hydraulic, even though I'm pretty sure it's electronically assisted. It is really, really good to drive, especially on some curvy roads. Gary was telling me he thinks that the steering feel is similar or even better than an Evo's, which I think is obviously a very bold statement, but driving it now, I don't think he's far off the mark.
I grew up around cars my whole life. My grandparents had 2 car dealerships. It just seemed to be inevitable that you're around cars, you see them enough that it ends up being the thing that you fall in love with. And it's been a hobby of mine for as long as I can remember it, and it's brought smiles to my face and countless memories and countless friends that I have across the country, and it's definitely very rewarding if you go into it with the right mindset. One of the best factors of the Fiesta ST is the gas mileage. A lot of people hate it that it has a smaller motor, but at the end of the day, currently as it sits with my 93 tune, I'm still getting 35 miles on the highway and well over 30 miles a gallon whenever I'm deciding to putz it around through town or not getting on it. If I stay out of boost, it could probably even get better than that, but
So Gary mentioned that the steering feel is a lot like an Evo, and Ben kind of confirmed that, in that the steering is very direct. Even with its modern technology, it still seems to have really good connection with the road. But what I like most about the handling on this is that it's easy to find your line. You never really deviate from where you want to go. And with a lot of cars, when you're going around a corner, you know where you want to place the car, but it doesn't always end up there. Sometimes you're drifting out to the side or you hit a bump and it tosses you to a different direction. This car is just easy to hit the line every time, very consistently. You're always going exactly where you want to place it.
can't have a family with this vehicle. I can definitely say it's more of a two-seater, even though it has, 4 doors. They pretty much have to be small children or somebody without legs to be able to sit in the back seats. The trunk space is non-existent. When I got my wheels, I had to actually put wheels in the front seat to be able to transport all 4 of them to the shop to be able to get it taken care of. So it's definitely things you have to consider when purchasing the vehicle that, may not be the long haul vehicle that's going to get, 4 adults in the vehicle comfortably or things of that nature. So it's just more of just enjoying it for what it is.
If it suits your needs, this is the car to get. If what you're looking for is a small hatchback that's tolerably practical, but primarily with an emphasis on being fun to drive and having good fuel economy, this is absolutely the car that you should get. I've driven various GTIs, driven the Focus ST, and those are nice, but if you don't need the space that those offer, this drives better.
I've always had a connection to cars. I always felt that, they're kind of an extension of a person's personality. That the car speaks volumes on the person who's driving it. And I feel that, a lot of the times that the connection people get with cars may not be the fastest car, may not be the prettiest car, but they have a connection, personal connection with the vehicle, and that's what makes it special. And I feel for mine, my connection with this vehicle is that it's my first step into a domestic car that I decided to upgrade, as well as it was probably the best thing that I could have purchased off the lot at the time frame when I was looking for a new vehicle. Obviously I'm always going to come back to, we have our dream cars on our list. And I will definitely be more attached to some of my dream cars on my list, than the Fiesta that I have today. But at the same time frame is that this is definitely something that I'll enjoy and, cherish the memories I make in this car that will obviously make my next vehicle even more of an impression on my life.
I apologize.
Which way am I going?
Straight.
Okay.
Can you accept my apology?
I can accept your apology.
Can you apologize to me?
I'm sorry for making bluff noises.
Thank you. That's the only time I ever had somebody apologize to me for making awful noises.